All right, so I got a hold of a generic 3 amp hour battery from Amazon. Looking at this, it's very comparable in size, dimension, and shape of a 2.5 amp hour Ego battery. And I figure for the people out there in the market looking for a small Ego battery generic version, folks might be gravitating towards this. So, I was able to get a hold of one of these, and this is going to be a quick video to just show you, is this generic battery worth it? Overall, there are some similarities. As you can see, the fuel gauge on the 2.5 amp hour Ego battery versus the generic one. A lot of these generic ones have very similar fuel gauge on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and just do some tests and provide my comments and opinion as to whether or not this is worth it. Link in the description for this battery in the event you just so happen to be interested, even after I explain how it goes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and try to do this test. This is a 765 CFM Ego leaf blower. We have the genuine 2.5 amp hour Ego battery and the generic 3 amp hour battery that we got from Amazon. We're going to go ahead and use a timer and see what's the difference between the two. If the generic one comes close to the 2.5 amp hour one. In theory, the 3 amp hour generic version should last a little bit longer than the 2.5. However, my expectations is that they're going to be more or less even. So first up is going to be the genuine Ego 2.5. It has been fully charged. I'm going to go ahead and put it in, test it out. All right, so I came out probably about a second or two delayed. So this 2.5 amp hour Ego genuine battery lasted about 6 minutes and a few seconds on turbo. So we're going to go ahead and try out the generic version and see if it fares any better. So it's about 3 minutes 35 seconds. So when we pull it out, let's see, it's still flashing. It still has juice left. Wait a minute, maybe it hit overheat. All right, let's try to run it again. I'm gonna let it cool down for about 5 minutes, come back, and we'll try to run it again. As compared, now I did this off camera, the 2.5 was completely dead. This looks like it still has 3 bars left, so it looks like it still has juice. All right, I gave this a couple minutes to cool off. It's now cool to the touch. We're going to go ahead and put it in here and continue the timer. Right now it's about 3 minutes and a half, and see if this continues going. All right, so I had to stop the test. It only lasted a few seconds and turned right back off. And now it went from 3 bars down to completely dead. So on turbo, we're looking at generic battery, about 3 minutes 30 seconds. Not very impressive. That's not what I would expect from a 3 amp hour battery. But let's go ahead and charge this back up, see if it runs any different. So we already did 2 runs on the generic on turbo. We saw it's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. We're going to go ahead and switch back to the genuine 2.5 amp hour. And instead of running on turbo, we're just going to run the leaf blower on high and time how long does a genuine 2.5 go when running it on high only. Let's go ahead and test this out. Unfortunately, I believe I lost the footage of the time lapse, but I just ran the 2.5 on high, not on turbo. We're looking at almost 12 minutes. 11 minutes and about 50 seconds or so. So that's about double the time that you would expect, which is very consistent using the genuine Ego 2.5 amp hour battery. All right, 3 amp hour generic battery on high test. See how long this runs. All right, so running the generic one on high, not on turbo, was about 7 minutes and a half. So not as good as the 2.5 genuine Ego battery. Now, overall, I actually have experience using generic batteries. I'm a big fan of Ryobi tools. And I mean a pretty big fan. I have a lot of Ryobi tools. So when it comes to the batteries, I have a variety of batteries, mostly genuine batteries, but I do have generic ones. I've had hit or miss luck on these generic versions. I bought in probably 5 or 6 of these, and I've only had 2 really good ones. This is my workhorse. Because it's a generic cheap battery, I usually go for this battery first. So I've ran this battery through the ringer because I typically don't want to use up my really good battery. So whenever I'm doing a quick project, I usually just go for the generic one. And when I need the extra power, then I'll go ahead and I'll pull my real batteries. I am not against generic batteries. I've actually had success with it. It is hit or miss. You never really know what you're getting. But this is an example of a generic Ryobi battery that's about maybe 4 to 5 years old, still going, holds a really good charge, and I use it all the time. So here's another issue I'm finding with the generic battery. I went ahead just to test out how it would be charging this generic battery on the rapid charger. As you saw earlier, the battery died when I was running it on the leaf blower, ran for only 3.5 minutes. And when I went to go put it on here, it charged. It's still reading 3 bars, but you saw that it was saying it was fully charged. So it looks like you can't really charge the generic battery on the rapid charger. This is also inconsistent. You kind of need to charge it on the regular charger. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop this on the regular charger. So this is not rapid charger friendly. So I ran it for a couple seconds on low, it was 3 bars. Again, now it's flashing again. Take it out, flashing, hit it, flashes, goes up to 2 bars. Very inconsistent. I don't trust this fuel gauge. So I was very curious about what type of cells, battery cells, this generic battery has. So I took it upon to open it. I don't recommend this. Now, I am not a expert, but I'm seeing 18650s from Samsung in here. I can't tell or discern whether or not these are generic knockoffs or real, but they look really good quality, high quality. If these are legitimately Samsung's 18650s, these should generally be really good cells. This is what a lot of other power tools have successfully used for many years, based on the limited research and knowledge that I have on lithium-ion batteries. So I mean, just taking this apart, it looks like it has good cells. I'm not sure why it's not lasting that long. For all we know, these could be some bad cells in here, some recycled cells, maybe the motherboard or the MBS, I think what it's called. I really don't know the acronym. Maybe causing some mismanagement of these cells, but overall it looks like these are some really good cells, battery cells inside this generic battery, which should result in some good results. It's just we're not seeing it for some reason. All right, so now that we've gone through all the tests, it's really difficult for me to recommend generic 3 amp hour battery. It doesn't really seem like a 3 amp hour battery. If anything, it's half of what this 2.5 is. I would probably consider this a 1.5 amp hour battery. In conclusion, you saw that overall I had some charging issues with this one. The fuel gauge has been very inconsistent. It does not have anywhere near the same runtime as a 2.0, as a 2.5 amp hour genuine Ego battery. It does have what appears some really good cells. It appears to be some genuine Samsung cells. It just doesn't perform as well. Overall, I'm a bit disappointed in this. It just did not perform of what me as a consumer would believe a 3 amp hour battery should do. I'm not knocking down all generics. In my experience, it's hit or miss. I've had some really great experiences with third-party batteries. This one just isn't it. And hopefully you found some of this information useful.